Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tesla Life, a special Tesla Life. Here we are on recording on a Saturday. I don't know when we'll post this, but right now it's Saturday. We welcome you to join us on this special Tesla Life, where we have lined up a great interview with Todd Bertram of the Bargersville Police Department in Indiana. And Todd joins us live from the cruiser. We'll get to him in just a second. Also, of course, we have our regular Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, Casey?
Doing pretty well.
Excellent, excellent. And now over to Todd, who appears is getting some sunny weather himself. How are you today, Todd?
Yes, it's sunny and beautiful here today.
Welcome to the show. We appreciate your time today.
Yep.
So if you've been living under a rock in the Tesla world, you have not known that there's been a few different police departments that have decided to switch over to Tesla Model 3s for a number of different reasons. Todd's department was one of the first, if not the first, in the country to try this out about just over a year ago. And we wanted to talk a little bit with Todd and find out how he made this decision, how it came up, and what his results have been after being about a year into the program. So, Todd, maybe just give us a little bit of a insight into how you came up with this idea, or who prompted you to maybe think about a Tesla over a traditional gasoline car.
Yes, so the council had prompted me. I was prompting them to hire new people. Like the police departments in the country, they're usually behind, and officers and numbers don't match. So we needed to hire some officers, and we're doing a lot of building around here, and this is a growing community. But the problem that comes with that is that the tax income is usually about a year behind, so you get all the growth and then you don't have any of the money. Right. So I was prompted by the council to figure out a way to save some money, and maybe they could figure out a way to hire some officers. So with that conversation, I figured I needed to save a little more than hundreds of dollars. I needed to save thousands of dollars, and I didn't no idea how I was going to do that. And I was looking through the budget, and one of the biggest line items that we had was, besides salaries and insurance and officer benefits and such, was fuel and maintenance. The combined fuel and maintenance budget was right at $100,000. So I thought, well, if I didn't have either any fuel or any maintenance, then there's two officers. So I kind of started digging around, and this is what I came up with. The Tesla Model 3 kind of, it's not going to eliminate all. You still got electricity costs, but that's the electricity cost that you were going to pay anyway. You're going to pay your utility bill no matter what. So, and the maintenance is, I'm not going to say it's nothing, but it's at best significantly less than the Dodge Chargers or any other gas car as far as that goes.
Right.
So that's kind of what I came with. I presented it, and they were really hesitant, simply because in perspective, the Chevy and Ford and Dodge, it's a new company. So they were a little nervous about that. They're like, well, an 8-year warranty is no good if the company's not in business in a couple of years. And
right.
I agree with that, but I don't have another answer for it. So they went with it, the first one, and that was the big challenge. And then the second one was, well, we don't have a year's worth of numbers on the other one yet. And I'm like, you're going to wait a year. It's going to take me 10 years to hire two officers. This is not going to work. So it worked out good, though. So far, so good.
Right. So how did you come up? You saw this on your line item that this was an expense that you were trying to reduce dramatically, but how did you come across Tesla in the first place? Were you introduced it by somebody, or did you just know about them through the media?
You know, that's the thing is I'm a YouTube guy, I get my news from YouTube. I get there's lots of training videos on YouTube. I'm a YouTube guy, so I watch YouTube, and there was lots of Tesla videos with about you or YouTube videos about Tesla, and you can't just go with what's on the surface. You got to kind of dig into it a little bit, and that's what I did. Many different users across the country, and in snowy conditions and summer conditions and different things, because the big question was, hey, well, what about in the wintertime? What are you going to do in the wintertime when that was always the big thing. But there are people in New Zealand that are driving Teslas, and they're fine. So you do lose some range, but so that's where I got it from. I got it from YouTube and started digging into it, and then went to the Tesla store and started talking to them, and then I went to my upfitter trying to talk to him. And of course, he was scared to death. He didn't know what he was going to do or how that was going to work out. And he said, I'll tell you, I'll do my best to get it done, but I can't guarantee you how long it's going to take me. So.
Well, that's a great question, because obviously the car stock has to be outfitted with the police equipment that you guys use on a daily basis. So yeah. With that, your professional outfitter that would, I guess, outfit any car that you were making into a police vehicle, they took it and worked on it, and obviously it turned out very well.
Yeah, it turned out great. It's been doing really good.
So what kind of modifications did they make? What kind of challenges did they have?
So they didn't really have any. The big to start, was typically when you say I'm buying a 2020 Dodge Charger, they already have the sticks for that. So they can call Wayland or Federal Signal or whoever does the emergency lighting for those vehicles, and they can say I'm buying a 2020 Charger and I need lights for it, I need the radio mounts for it, I need all that, and you can do that. This car, we absolutely couldn't do any of that because we needed to get the 21907 car so we could do measurements, and we instead of doing we're buying a Charger, we needed a light that was 18 inches long, so you did it by size rather than so he had to do all of it, a lot of his own homework. That was one of the big challenges. The other one is, how does all of this stuff come apart? A lot of it's very typical car stuff, it all little plastic push pins, and I mean that's very typical stuff. But what's under here, is the big one. Like, what's under the seat? What is there going to be a place to run the wires? Where's a safe place to drill into to ground? And all that kind of stuff. So those were the big challenges, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And with that said, obviously your outfitter was taking information down as he went along, because of course you have more than one cruiser now that is a Model 3, correct?
You have 3. Yeah.
You have 3 of them. Okay. Fantastic. So you convinced the council, you got one car, you got another 2 at a later date. You've now got this fleet of 3. One of the cars is at least over a year old. What have you found against the numbers that you collected and presented to council in the first place? How have those numbers compared to real life after a year of use?
Yeah, so I'm getting ready to... my office manager's making it look pretty, all of my scribbles and all of my stuff that I've put together. But what I found is that we had projected off of fuel only that we would be about, and now when we bought the Charger, or when we bought the Tesla, we were basing it on the fuel prices at the time.
Yeah.
As we all know, the prices went down significantly over the spring and summer, so that impacted the amount of savings that we had, and you can see that on the preliminary chart that she has kind of put together right now. You can see the savings go down as the fuel prices go down.
Right.
Of course, there's always going to be a savings because you're not going to get Well, electricity's just cheaper. I mean, I was going to try to think of a comparison, but it's 9 cents a kilowatt here,
Well, not bad.
which is cheap. Yeah, because typically it's 12 to 25 cents.
Yeah.
So we're 9 cents a kilowatt. So that was kind of another advantage. But so
Plus, if the price of gas goes back up again.
and that's the thing. So what we found was we had projected 24 months was going to be the break-even point. I think it was $14,000 more expensive. The Tesla Model 3 was $14,000 more expensive than what we get the Dodge Charger for.
And this is an SR Plus, correct? The model of the Model 3, it's an SR Plus?
Plus. Okay. Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's a rear-wheel drive car, 250 miles range. Actually, it was 240 when I bought it. It grew.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. And it got 5% more power in one of the updates.
Even better.
Yeah. But so yeah, we had projected 24 months. I think just preliminarily looking at the numbers, I think we're going to be about 22 months. A break-even point, which is not a huge difference. Once you take the fuel and maintenance and all the items coming down for the Charger, and then the fuel or the electricity and maintenance for the Tesla, we're saving about $7,000 a year.
Not bad.
Fantastic.
Now, a lot of our audience is home Tesla owners. Like, you'll have a couple businesses, but you guys are like running them. So, what kind of maintenance are you seeing?
We're running them, and we're not letting no grass grow.
I like that.
One day, I think it had about 6,000, 7,000 miles on it when we took it to what we call emergency vehicle operation course. So I have 12 guys on my department, and anybody that was going to be interested in ever driving the Tesla on patrol was going to need to take this car through that course because it's different. It's not an all-wheel drive gas Charger. It's different. It's a different car. Yeah. So it accelerates quicker. It feels better. It's a different car. So they needed to drive it. So they drove it all right for 8 or 9 hours. All 12 of them guys thrashed this car for 8 hours. I mean, it was dead when we were done, and it was full when we went there. What comes out of that is when you're driving like that, we don't drive like that every day, but when you're driving like that, it's really hard on the tires.
Yeah.
The back tires needed to be replaced when we got done.
Wow.
1 8 hour. So that's the only thing that we've done to the car is replace the back tires. We just rotated them, put new ones on the back.
Nice.
So that's the only thing we've done in a year and a month.
Fantastic. And what has been the I guess the reviews of your officers that do use the cars? What have been their comments back if some of them have not experienced a Tesla in the past?
Yeah, so I have some big guys on my department, and the big guys have a little bit of trouble with it. The best explanation I can give for this is that the entry hole, the door, the B pillar on the car, which this pillar, the B pillar is moved up a little bit more, and I think I'm sure that goes along with the safety of the car.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting behind the B pillar, which is, it's much safer than sitting behind the door, which is collapsible.
Yeah.
So that causes a little bit of an issue for the big guys to get in there. I got one guy 6'7", probably 250, and he struggles a little bit getting in and out. But once you're in there, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's getting in and out, and sometimes we need to bail out kind of quick sometimes. So that kind of presents a problem for the big guys. But for me, I have had no issues with it. And then the other two people that are driving them, we had one of the other cars. So we had a partial order come in on the other Tesla. We needed to put the gun safes in the trunk at a later date. So it went back up to, he drove it for about a month, and then it went back up to the upfitter, and they had to drive a Charger for 3 days. Well, you would have thought you just took his birthday away because he was like, "Get me out of this hunk of junk," you know. I mean, he was, and it was.
That's awesome.
It wasn't like an old car, but it will really spoil you.
Yeah, I had my Model S was in the shop after it got into a collision, and I was complaining about this 2020 or 2018. It was new at the time, BMW convertible. They're like, "What are you spoiled or something? It's a nice car." I'm like,
I actually am spoiled, and I like it that way.
"Yeah." So, do you think that the fit would be a little easier for the bigger guys with the Model Y or something like SUV style?
And that's my goal. The guys that were the bigger guys are currently in Dodge Durangos, and it's still in the budget phase of things. And I don't know. I would be silly to be able to predict what's going to happen next year, but I know what I'm going to propose that we buy 4 more next. 2 of them are going to be Model Ys.
There you go.
And one of them is going, or the other 2 are going to be Model 3s.
Yeah.
And that's just the cars rotate out, you know, when they get enough miles on them. Basically, the council's rule kind of is if it's getting ready to get out of warranty, then we need to start getting rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, because if you didn't plan for replacing motors and all that kind of stuff in a gas car, then and transmissions, then you need to get out of it before it starts needing that stuff.
Will they extend it on this car since it's got so few parts to worry about, or?
They will. That was another piece of the selling point. I told them that we do. Well, like this one's got 23,000 miles on it now, and it's been on the road for 11 months.
Wow.
So it'll 13 months. So it'll have close to that though, about that 4 or 5 year mark. It'll be, the good thing is this one is under warranty for drivetrain until 120,000 miles.
Nice.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
that kind of pushes it out, and that's just Tesla trying to outdo everybody else, which is totally fine with me. I mean, I'm good with it.
Yeah. So with this, with you've gotten a lot of media coverage over the past year. I've seen a number of articles written. I've seen television crews come out to you. You've done other podcasts as well. Are you getting inquiries from other police departments around the country, knowing that you're one of the first groups to do this? Are you getting calls? Are you getting inquiries?
By the hundreds.
Wow. Okay.
It's been insane. So I apparently we were one of the first departments in Indiana to use a drone. So we went straight from the drone people to the Tesla people. And I mean, it just seems like that's all I do. Before, all I talked about was drones, and now all I talk about is Tesla. I mean, that's just the nature. And I'll tell you, that is not what I anticipated at all. The reason that I went public with it, the reason that I was putting it out there so much is I didn't want our residents to think that the town spent $80,000 to $100,000 on a car, because that's just not what this was.
Right.
And that was the big reason why I put it out there so much. And then what happened was not what I anticipated at all. You have very few people thinking that we spent $100,000 on a car, and then you have tons of people like hanging out of their cars taking pictures. I was just dumbfounded. Everywhere you go, you park at the gas station, everybody's walking around taking pictures.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I did not anticipate that at all.
So that's something that we're seeing is that a lot of people seem to be on one side or the other. Like either they know nothing and they think that you wasted money, or they know everything about it and they're like, "Wow, that's awesome."
So that's fantastic. So
or they know nothing about it.
Obviously, you're getting a positive review from the town, from the city. Like you've the public, you've taken this to different public events, I would assume, and the reviews are on the positive side. It sounds like
they have been primarily positive. You'll have a naysayer on occasion, or you'll have somebody that, you know, because it's the police, people don't want to go fly out negative. You know, they want to. You could tell that they were negative when they walked up to you and started asking questions, but then, you know, they'll ask So how much range do you get? What are you going to do when it runs out of battery in a pursuit? And I mean, you'll get those things, and then you know that person's that naysayer guy that doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And,
right.
And you just answer those questions like I always answer them questions, and they kind of go, huh, okay.
Speaking of running out of range, I've got two questions. One is your charging regiment, and then the other is like, especially like, how they say keep it above this and below that. Curious what you do with that. And then I believe it was Fremont. They did run out on a pursuit. How do you guys handle that?
So Fremont, them poor guys, they got screwed. Is what they got. The guy that turned the car in the shift before didn't charge it, and the guys coming in, they're hot seating the cars is the thing.
Yeah.
He jumps in the car and gets into the stuff deep, and he's got like 20%. Well, that's not gonna work, y'all. I mean, that's not gonna work. And that's not gonna work in a gas car either. You can't start a ship with a quarter tank of gas and expect it to be okay. So fortunately, we're not hot seating the car. We're assigned the car. I'm assigned this car. Everybody's assigned their own car, so they take it home and it's in their neighborhood, and it's being seen in the neighborhoods, and they take care of them better when it's sitting in their driveway, and they can go, wax it on their day off, or they can do whatever rather than having to come to station and try to do anything with it. So it seems to work better for us. It's not gonna, like I said, it's not gonna work for everybody, but
because it's theirs, and if they beat it up, somebody else is gonna.
Yeah, and they have off-duty. They have off-duty use of it, so they can drive it off-duty up to 400 miles a month. So they drive it. They'll run to the grocery store, or they'll drive it, or wherever. So, which I like that, because if it's in the community, then it's maybe keeping some crime away that will.
Yes, it's
never
highly visible, wouldn't it be? It would be highly visible at all times.
Yes, exactly.
This is Officer Martin.
Officer Omar Martin joins us from New Jersey area. How are you today, sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. How you doing?
Very good, very good. Omar, of course, we're interviewing Todd here, and just feel free to listen in and send in a comment or a question if you have one. Thanks for joining us today. So Todd, another question would be that you've now you've had this car in the fleet for some of them just over a year, some of them just short of a year. Has that influenced anyone to buy a Tesla privately? Have you changed some people's minds by just having these cars drive around? If someone come up to you and said, "What's your referral code, Todd? I want to buy a Tesla."
Yeah, so the referral code is sweet, right? Except for nobody ever uses that. Oh. And yes, people have come in and the neighbor next door to the police department just bought a Tesla, and then she bought solar panels and the Tesla Powerwall, and it was like, I mean, yeah. So I like to think that it was because, well, if the Tesla's good enough for the police department, then I'm buying one, and that's what happened to the Dodge Chargers. That's what happened to the Ford Explorers. I mean, that's why them things are blowing up. If the police can't kill them, then they must be good.
Yeah.
Is what people think.
Well, I think your group is definitely performing a service to Tesla, because you're right. You guys are hard on vehicles, and if the vehicles hold up and you buy them over and over again, then that's the best testament you can get for any car.
Yeah, and I agree with that. We're definitely harder on them than, and I'm sure there's other departments that are more harder on them than we are. But and my town council president says that. He goes, "Tesla owes you. They should give you a free car." Like, yeah, they're not going to do that.
They won't give his mom a free car.
Yeah.
So have any of the Tesla features been able to assist you guys with what you do, like the Sentry Mode or the dash cam, or?
All of the above. It's amazing. So the poor Indianapolis Police Department is, they were going through a rash of police car break-ins.
Oh no.
They were people were stealing the wheels off the police cars.
Whoa.
And then breaking in the trunks and stealing the guns out of it, and stuff like that. They've had issues like that up there. Luckily, we have not had that down here. But yeah, it's got a babysitter out there all the time.
Yeah.
It's got eight babysitters all over the car all the time. And yeah, I've used the dash cam feature on DUIs and different things. I wish there was a way we could mic it up somehow. I'm sure Tesla knows how, but if we could mic it up, that'd be ideal. But yeah, that works. It works great. It's caught a few things because your typical police dash cam faces the front of the car and it doesn't catch what goes on all the way around the car or what happens at the trunk of the car. And then this system on the Tesla does. It catches what happens all the way around the stuff. Works out great.
And then
now, were you guys able to use that as your dash cam instead of installing a dash cam?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
We don't have Omar. We don't have dash cams in our cars. I don't know what you guys have, but there's an expense there. Obviously, it's about $3,000, $2,000 to $3,000 for a dash cam install. But we didn't have them to begin with, so this is kind of like an added feature for us. So, and it's been we've used it.
Yeah, and since you got it, they updated your camera. You got 2 more cameras at no extra charge.
I know, right? Yeah.
Those updates are fantastic. Being able to, like you said, you got an increase in power, you got an increase in range, you got an increase in Sentry mode abilities. Man, those updates are paying dividends every day, I'm sure, for you guys.
It's seriously like Christmas, man. If you don't have a Tesla, you wake up in the morning and it says Tesla's been updated. You're like, yes, what I did.
Nice. And so because you guys are using it for work, do you guys have it like on standard, or do you have like a phase? Like with the computers, we have like a group where these guys will be the test group, and if anything goes wrong, we stop the update, or is everybody at their own course? Like, hey, my car's gonna get it now.
Kind of in charge. Yeah, my guys are basically in charge of their own car. Like one guy's a little bit of a doesn't pay attention to some things. He'll get a text message or the thing that comes up on your phone from the app that says, "Hey, there's an update for your car," and he doesn't pay attention to it. So I'll have to call him like in a week. I'm like, "Hey, update your car," So they just kind of in charge of it. They do it themselves.
Yeah. And so you like have like all the cars in one master app, and then they have an account on theirs.
No.
How many Teslas do you guys have in your fleet?
That's a good question, because I asked Tesla before we started this process what was going to be the best way to manage this. I need to have keys to all. I'm the chief, so I need to have keys to all the cars, access to all the keys to all the cars. Yeah. I know we got the little credit card key, but if I had the app on my phone, then I could just zip through all the cars and move them around. I wouldn't have to run back and forth to the office if I needed to, right?
Yeah.
So they said the best way to handle that is to create an account that is department for like the department. So it goes to the email is for our department email. Yeah. And it's one password for the whole thing. So everybody just downloads the app and it manages all 3 cars all at once. They don't have like a fleet software kind of way.
They will for the truck. They added a feature last year that I really liked, where that master account can invite drivers. And so I invited my wife to our car, so she only sees the one car. She doesn't see the whole account.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I do. I see it every time. Like another one of the guys leaves his windows down. Now I get that notification that his windows are down, and I'm like, yeah. But I just kind of go, yeah. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Another one I thought was cool is that you can add, since you're the chief, you can add your plastic card, to all the cars. I think they can have like 4 keys.
Yes.
Yeah. That was cool. And they it used to be so hard. Like they updated that. Like I was showing somebody how to, like they lost their key, and I was showing how to put the new one in. And it was like 2 steps. I was like, that's incredible.
Yep. You just got to have the card, and you're golden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a question to Omar. Your department doesn't have any Teslas as patrol cars, but I understand you own one personally. Have you tried to talk to your department about doing what Todd's department has done?
So I've been talking to my department for the last 5 years since I've had my Tesla, trying to convince them to consider electric cars, just to even just consider them. And so far, it's really fallen on deaf ears. One of the reasons is our chief, our current chief, is really, really old school. You know, he came in the 80s, so he's, you know, afraid of new tech like that. He's like, well, no, our guys, they need gas because we have to be able to fuel them back up real quickly. We have to get them back on the road. One of the problems that we have is because of the size of our department and the number of cars in our fleet, it's not like some departments where they issue a vehicle to every officer and they take home their vehicles and stuff like that. We don't have that. We have a pool of cars that get used constantly over and over, different people, different shifts. Yeah. So we're running our cars almost 24/7. So one of the problems is having enough time to be able to have downtime for the car so it can charge back up. So I've tried to make arguments about that too. I'm like, well, currently our guys, when they come in to do reports, they come into the station. If we put charging stations in the station, while they're in doing the reports, the car is charging. So throughout the day, you just get charged. So even though you're technically using it during your shift, you're not wearing it all the way down anyway. Mm-hmm. So I try to have that argument. That doesn't work. The other thing I said, well, maybe we should consider not running our cars 24/7. How about having enough cars so we don't have to, so we can have a shift in between? How about that? You know, and that, you know, there's budgetary issues that goes along with that. So, you know, there is that. And then I make the argument, well, you know, if we did that and considering the electric cars and less maintenance and everything else, the money that you would save in the maintenance, in the fuel and everything else can go towards having enough cars for the fleet instead of having such a shortage of cars.
Yeah. Are there any DC fast chargers or superchargers nearby?
Well, no. So here's the thing. Our current chief, he's retiring next month.
Oh wow.
So whoever the new chief is, now the person that they think is going to be the next chief, he's kind of slated, he's in line. If he becomes chief, he's my age. We're the same age, and I have his ear pretty good. Yeah. So he's much more open to the idea of getting Teslas. He kind of likes the idea of the Cybertruck, especially.
Nice. Oh, that's gonna be sharp.
I'm trying to talk him into getting a Model Y. Yeah. Try to, you know, test out with a couple Model Ys as well. So hopefully we'll be able to start moving in that direction moving forward. One of the questions that I had for you is like, how hard was it or easy was it for you to get, you know, all the bean counters on board with actually getting a Tesla? Because they're, you know, they always look at the upfront cost and they're like, well, you know, the Teslas, they cost X amount of dollars up front. So how do you?
I'm lucky enough that I have, and I feel your pain, Omar. My last council that was on here would never approve this car. That would have never happened. This newer council that came in the last couple of years was bean counters. Okay, they were. So they had. I have a financial investor guy. I have an attorney that works in the commercial side. I have a retired post office employee that ran a business on her own, and so I have those people. And the one that helped me the most was the financial investments guy. I brought him the numbers, and you know, he's that numbers guy. He's really good. He's that numbers guy that can look at a bunch of numbers on an Excel spreadsheet and go, "You got a problem here." And then you're like, "What? Where? What?" And you know, and if you don't got your stuff together, he's going to just see it just by looking at them. But and he took the numbers. It was a 2 or 3 meeting process, but he took the numbers and brought them back and he says, "I agree. He's right. We're going to save money." And I'm like, "Yes, Because if they believe him and he's the town board president, they're going to believe me. So
Nice.
it worked out good. And you're exactly right. I call them gearheads. I got a couple gearheads in my department that are never, no matter how hard you get it or how clear you make it, they're never going to do it. One of my guys, and I love him to death, but he's still tearing apart an old Chevy truck, sanding it down, trying to save $1. And I'm like, what are you?
Oh, we definitely got some guys like that too.
Yeah. So he's never gonna get it. He's gonna say, "Oh, it's always like, well, I can't wait for a couple months, see how this thing comes out." And now it's been a year, and he's like, "Well, I'll be interested to see the 5-year mark." And I'm like, "No, you're not gonna be alive then."
So do you think your guys have a reservation on the Cybertruck?
I have my reservation on the Cybertruck.
That's great.
And I don't know if the police department. I don't know if this is a farmer's kind of a quiet. I don't know. A Cybertruck rolling through here might not. I don't know if that'll go, man. I don't know about that. I got mine. Mine's gonna be rolling through here, but I don't know if they're gonna do it or not.
There you go.
The numbers make sense. I mean, I already sold them. They should already know. But I don't know if they're ever gonna do it or not.
Fantastic.
I mean, and that would help with the big guys too. For if they could fit under the Giant, they could fit any of us.
But the utility of the Cybertruck makes it so much more compelling. When you look at the numbers and you look at the utility of it.
Yeah.
I'm in Atlantic City, New Jersey, so we get floods, hurricanes, and stuff like that. We also get winters where we get plenty of snow and all that. And just looking at just the sheer utility of it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm trying to talk them into it.
Yeah.
So Todd,
if it didn't look like that, I would win that battle.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it looks like that, and they're like, well, that looks scary. I don't know if I want that driving around. So I don't know if I have to get that done.
So just a little bit too much in the urban assault look on that vehicle.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't paint it black.
Todd, I certainly want to be cognizant of your time with us today. Maybe you could kind of give us a quick synopsis of where you see this going in the future. What plans do you have? You talked about getting a few more cars, maybe a Y. I've also heard something about a supercharger. What can you tell us?
So we're in a rental property right now for our police department. They found mold in it 10 years ago in our old building, so they tore it down. So we're in temporary quarters for the last 10 years. We're finally getting ready to build a building this year, and obviously Teslas are on our radar, so we already have them in the fleet. So we're going to be doing our electrical contractor that we use, Uber Energy, is going to be putting in 5 or 6 destination type chargers, and I think they're actually going to be destination chargers. And then he's going to put in a what he calls a DC fast charger, which is basically just a supercharger.
Right.
So he's going to put in one of those at our new PD. So that's gonna.
So someone that requires a quick emergency charge will be able to use that DC fast charger and top up rather quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So Omar's situation that would solve that problem. But I don't know if you want to do that every time. I don't think that's a good idea to do every single time you charge the car. And I'm with Omar. You pull on station to do some reports. You're going to be there 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever. You're just typing up some reports. I do my morning patrols. I try to hit every single street in the town of 13 square miles before I go to breakfast. That's my normal routine. And I'm usually at like 72, 75% in the summertime, and in the wintertime that might be 68, 67% running the heat if it's cold out. I'll go in, eat my breakfast, because Corona, you can't go in anywhere. So now I just go to the PD, and by the time I get done there in an hour and 15, 20 minutes or something like that, I'm already back full again, So now here it is 2:00 in the afternoon. I only got 3 hours left, and I'm still at 90%. I just charged again. So you're not like you having to sit there for 5 hours. You're just topping it off all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what Tesla wants you to do or not, as far as the battery goes, but that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. And if you're in a station that doesn't have onboard fuel, you add that again, because like they used to have all the environmental regulations, so they can't do it anymore in a lot of places. But now, if you got it ripped out because of environmental, you can now top off all your cars again, while, like you said, while they're doing the reports.
That's exactly right. And at 9 cents a kilowatt.
Yeah.
and what's crazy is I know a guy who has a Model 3 and he doesn't have a place to charge at home. He's an apartment dweller, right? But he supercharges his car every week. He just goes in and he goes to the supercharger. That's what he does. That's his routine. That's how he fills up his car. And he's had his Model 3. He was like a day one reservation holder. So he's had his Model 3 for a while now. And he hasn't had really any problem or any issues with battery degradation or anything like that. So they're building those batteries pretty robust.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you stay within that percentage that they ask you to, then you're not going to have any problems. Like, but even if you can augment it with level 2 charging overnight at home, that's even better. So it does. You can go either way, but certainly they're. Using both of them is the better way to do it, but it can be done in a pinch in just supercharging. Certainly, I took my car. I live near Toronto, Ontario. I drove all the way to California for 11 days and drove back. In fact, I charged near Todd on the way down at one of his superchargers in southern Indiana or southern Indianapolis, and we were certainly no problem supercharging the entire way there and back, over 10,000 kilometers or over 6,000 miles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely have no problem taking road trips. I've had my car for 5 years, and I've driven all over the place. I've driven up to Toronto. I've driven to Montreal. We've driven down all the way down to Key West. Wow. We've driven out to Chicago. Matter of fact, Indianapolis was one of the places we stopped on our road trip when we went west. Tennessee, Kentucky, we've been all over the place. And what's funny is when we went to Chicago, on our way back, we went and we stopped. We went through Michigan, went to Detroit. And because we were in Detroit, we drove across Canada on the way back. Instead of driving through Pennsylvania, Ohio, we took the Canadian route.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we never had a problem in any of these places we've been.
Yeah.
No, the supercharger, the infrastructure is so large now and getting larger every day. It's fantastic to see all the routes we can all travel on.
Yeah. Todd, after you bought the...
I'll tell you, I'm super about everything going electric, at some point. I'll tell you, I'm scared. My wife really likes the Rivian SUV. And she's
really nice.
She has a Tahoe. She refused to do the Tesla thing because they're all too small, they're all too little. We only have one child. I don't know why she thinks she needs a Tahoe, but regardless, she wants Rivian SUV, and I'm like, okay, but the problem is that car, a traveling car, we're going to the Rivian. That makes me nervous about that. I can't jump on board with Ford and Rivian and Lucid Motors. We're going to charging. I mean, Tesla's so far out of the game.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about Tesla that's great is their battery management software. I think that is what makes this car as great as it is, and it scares me. The neighbor at the police department had a Nissan Leaf, and she had it for a year, and she lost 60 miles range the first year. She only had 120 to begin. Yeah. So that's when she bought the Model 3. And that's what scares me about buying anything else. I still don't know. I think Tesla's got the market right now, and I think they're going to have it for a while. So
I definitely would agree with that.
So the station, no, not station. Shortly after you guys got your SR Pluses, there was another group that got performance Model 3s. Have you had any talk with them? Did they just do it because they had the budget, or to say, hey, we have the faster ones, or?
They probably did. They probably just did it because they had the money to do it. and I don't know what their selling points were. You know, my selling point was about money. So I couldn't very well walk into there and say, "Hey, I'm going to spend 60 grand, and we'll get it back before the car's over, before we get rid of it." You know, I couldn't do that. I needed to be able to save some money was the whole point of it. So,
Exactly.
I'd love to have it. I tell you, I drove and I don't know what you all are driving, but I drove a Tesla Model Y Performance test drive. I took my big guy with me, you know, to see if he was going to be comfortable in it and how he was doing in it.
How'd he do?
Wow. The car is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was good.
How did he like the fit?
He was great. He was loving it. Yeah.
Even with his belt?
The car sits up about a couple inches, and the seat is mounted higher, too. The seat is mounted about 4 or 5 inches higher than the Tesla Model 3 is. The Model 3 seems like it's mounted on the floor.
Yeah.
And then the Model Y is mounted up like I see up on the bracket, you know, and raised roof a little bit too. It's really a nice car.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Todd, I appreciate your time today. I don't want to take up your whole day. Obviously, we could. It's been great speaking with you and about your experience, and we would certainly appreciate you sharing that with us. If someone would like to get a hold of you to talk a little bit about your experience, maybe another police department, how would they do that? Would they get a hold of you by phone, or what do you like to give out?
If you have my email address, it's Bertram, like the last name. If you want, I don't know how to work this technical stuff. I'm driving a Tesla, right? And I don't know how to work this technical stuff. But Bertram503@gmail.com. I'm sure there's a way I can type it to everybody, but I don't know how to do that.
Well, if you would like us, we'll certainly share it in the notes, and then others can grab it from the notes of the video.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fantastic.
That'd be cool to start seeing fire departments and everybody with the thing too. Like not the trucks, obviously, but like for the Chief's car and stuff.
Yeah, that's well. Again, with Todd's help, with the figures that he's putting out, especially after the year when he's starting to record this, and as he says, make the spreadsheet pretty. There's going to be a lot of departments that will have interest seeing what type of numbers will actually happen based on experience from, in this case, Indianapolis area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge help to have real world numbers to compare.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
Are you going to end up sharing the sanitized version of the spreadsheet? Like on your Facebook or
we'll share it. I will share it on Twitter, and I can send it to you guys too. I think I have the meeting the end of the month of September. I want to make sure my house will get first, you know, because it's their car. So I don't want them getting it from Twitter account or something, you know. So,
no.
But I want them to see it. So once I show it to them on that meeting, then I'll send it out to everybody else. Yeah, it'll be public then.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Well, again,
it's right around Battery Day.
Thank you very much, Todd, for joining us today. Omar, we'd like to thank you for chiming in as well, and of course Casey. And we will see you all next time on the Tesla Life. Thank you very much. Roll the music, Casey.
I was rolling it into a sound suppressor.
Fantastic. Give us a thumbs up on the video if you can. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you next time.